This is Boston Lanka News, bringing you news, views and entertainment from Boston and USA. I'm Eugenie de Silva. Sri Lankan origin Eugenie de Silva, who set a record as the world's youngest person to graduate with a bachelor's degree in intelligence analysis with a 4.0 GPA Summa Cum Laude at the age of 14, has set another record in obtaining her master's degree recently in USA.
I've been visiting Sri Lanka since I was 4 months old, and I've been visiting every year. Actually, this April of this year, I was in Sri Lanka and I presented a paper about the blend of chemistry and intelligence analysis, and I presented this paper at the Institute of Chemistry in Sri Lanka. So I've been visiting Sri Lanka every year since I've grown up, and my father and I, because I'm too young to travel alone, we visited different areas such as Sigiriya and obviously Colombo and Kandy and Galle. So I've been to very different places in Sri Lanka. And so now I plan to visit more the areas of Jaffna and those types of areas and explore more of Sri Lanka, but I have been visiting very often.
We join with Eugenie to discuss about some of her achievements and her future aspirations. Eugenie, you will be receiving the master's degree from Harvard University soon, and you're still 15 years old. What an achievement in such a young age. How did you do that?
Well, so in order to answer that, I think I have to go back to my background. And so I'll say I'm originally from Manchester, England, but I currently live in the US. And at the age of 7, I completed the Johns Hopkins University state test for verbal and mathematic talent. And I won the first place for the state of Virginia. I then went on to complete my college preparatory high school diploma from the University of Missouri High School at the age of 11, and as that's when I began my undergraduate studies at the American Military University. At the age of 14, I completed my undergraduate, which is my bachelor's in intelligence analysis with a 4.0 GPA, Summa Cum Laude, and that's when I went on and began my master's. During my undergraduate studies, though, at the age of 13, I'd already began completing master's level courses at Harvard University towards my master's in legal studies. But tomorrow, which is May 15th, is the official conferral date for my master's in intelligence analysis. So I've completed everything. Tomorrow is the official conferral date. So I worked up to I completed my bachelor's, and I was also completing master's at Harvard whilst completing this master's too.
You became the world's youngest person to graduate with a bachelor's degree in intelligence analysis with a 4.0 GPA at the age of 14. Can you talk about that?
Right. Well, I've always had an interest in education. My father raised me in an environment that was conducive to learning. And so for me, learning was something that I truly enjoyed. And so completing my education wasn't work, it was more fun. So I think that's something that the youth should understand, is that we should make our work fun, and that way it doesn't feel so time-consuming or boring. It feels like something we can truly enjoy, and that makes it an easier process. So for me, completing my education was fun because it was something that I truly wanted to do, and I had specific goals that I wanted to achieve, and I set those goals up early in life.
You have an interest in intelligence analysis. How did you develop an interest, and why you think it's important to study intelligence analysis?
Right, my father conducted research in the field of intelligence, so that influenced me at a very young age to be involved in the field. And as I learned more, I gained a greater interest in the field, and I really truly want to help the country, and I believe that being involved in the intelligence field can give me direct access to help the nation at an international and domestic level. So specifically the U.S., because that's what I've studied, and that's where I've focused my education.
It was reported that one of your future goals is to be the U.S. Defense Secretary. Is that true?
Yes, my goal is to become the U.S. Secretary of Defense, and then also do some work for the United Nations in the future, because that's just a goal that I always set for myself, and that's something that I want to work up to.
At Harvard University, you have completed your master's in intelligence and legal studies. What would be the focus on your PhD?
Yes, this May I began my PhD in politics, specifically intelligence studies and denial and deception activities at the University of Leicester in England. So that's the focus. My research is about the 6 principles of deception, and specifically in during World War II. So that's the focus because because my background is in intelligence. So I wanted to specifically focus on World War II because that's a time period that interested me during my undergraduate and graduate studies. So I wanted to further that knowledge through my PhD.
You are not only a brilliant student, but you're also an author. You have co-authored a book on research with your father named Multidisciplinary Research for College Students. Could you talk about that book a little bit?
Right. So my dad raised me, and he taught me through research. So I have a strong background in conducting research, and throughout my studies, I've used research to study wide range of subjects, ranging from intelligence studies to psychology and teaching physics and chemistry through online software programs. And so this multidisciplinary research book is a way to show college students how to use multidisciplinary research in their own lives and how to use it effectively in order to study different subjects, not just one specific subject, but to include a wide variety of subjects so that they can broaden their knowledge and not be limited to one subject.
Then you have also published 2 children's books.
Yes, I wrote 2 children's books. They're titled The Adventures of Princess Eugenie, and actually they involve stories about me when I was younger from the perspective of a child when I visited Sri Lanka and the things that I did in Sri Lanka. So it's a way for children to learn to read and learn about my own personal life stories and the lessons that I've learned through a perspective of a child. So that was the aim of my children's books.
Eugenie, we know that at your age, you need to have some hobbies in addition to studies. Do you have any?
Okay, my hobbies include writing stories, fictional and non-fictional pieces of work. I also taught myself to play the piano, so I play the piano in my free time and I learn different songs. I play soccer for a local soccer team, and I also was the assistant coach for a U10 boys soccer team for the AYSO in my area in Tennessee. I did that at the age of 13. And I also do martial arts. My dad trains me, and I've done gymnastics in the past too. So those are my main hobbies when I have free time.
I understand that you have an interest in fashion and modeling. Is that true?
Yes, when I was younger in England, I actually did modeling for some newspapers and magazines in the areas. And in the US, I did some modeling for the Fashion Bug. So I did the modeling for the clothes. So that's something that I want to get back into in the future. So I would be really interested in doing some type of modeling.
I know that your father is the one who motivates you, supports you. Could you please talk about your father?
Yes, he raised me as a single parent, and he, as I said, promoted education in my life, and he always guided me on the right path. And I'm so grateful to have him as a father, and I was very lucky. He always has supported me, and he even paid out of pocket for all of my education because I'm too young to receive any types of scholarships. So, he's worked very hard, and he's instilled values into me that have helped me to succeed. And he's always been there for me, and he's been my main support group. He's been the only one that's really been there for me my entire life. So, I really love him, and he's the one that has inspired me throughout my life.
If you were asked by the Sri Lankan government to help in the intelligence field, how would you help?
Well, intelligence analysis has many different disciplines. Specifically, we have human intelligence, signals intelligence, communication intelligence. And so there's a wide array of disciplines. And so for my work, I have without going into specific details, because of the nature of my work, I can't release specific details, but I've focused on human intelligence and signals intelligence because those are two major disciplines in the field. And human intelligence is something that has always interested me, specifically because it allows me to work with people. Well, I would love to have the opportunity to be a Goodwill ambassador to Sri Lanka. And I currently began an initiative titled Peace and Prosperity in Sri Lanka. And through that, that's under the auspices of the Virginia Research Institute. So through that, I want to highlight the good things that are happening in Sri Lanka at a global level. And I also am developing educational programs for young adults. So that will be implemented not only in Sri Lanka, but in the world. So in that way, I can help in an educational arena. And through by being a Goodwill ambassador, I can help politically and bring more focus to the good things that are happening in Sri Lanka and how Sri Lanka is improving and how it has continued to progress after the war.
For students who may look up to you as a role model, what do you have to say to them?
I would tell the youth that setting up goals early is the most important thing that you can do in your life. And you have to figure out what really interests you and what you truly enjoy, and establish your goals and then pursue them. And you shouldn't be influenced by what others tell you to do. You should do what you truly enjoy. And I believe having at least a high school education is important because that's the basis in life. And then you can see what type of further education you want to pursue based on your own interests. So that's something that I would tell them, is just do what you truly want to do. That would be my main piece of advice for Sri Lankan youth.
That concludes our news edition. We meet you again with another news edition of News, Views and Entertainment from Boston and USA. Till then, goodbye.